Welcome back to Man vs Squirrel, the series where I slowly lose my sanity trying to outsmart a small but lovable rodent. In the last video, we put together a set of challenges designed to test the dexterity of the squirrel's digits, using a combination of grabbers, swings and slack ropes to see what they would and would not be able to do. For the most part, these challenges were trivial and demonstrated that anything I was going to build would have to be much more difficult. While these obstacles had kept them entertained, I was busy at work on something a little grander in scale. Welcome to the Squirrel Maze. Can our contestants scale the rope ladder to face their claustrophobic nightmares in the entrance tunnel? Beyond that awaits the laser grid. This set of deadly lasers would dissuade even the most skilled of spies. Should they manage to successfully navigate the laser room, a simple revolving door will weed out the pot-bellied and only allow the most slender to pass. But that's not all. If you manage to take the wrong turn here, you'll face the wall of death. Don't be lured in by the smell of delicious goodies if you want to reach the grand prize. The final stage in this gauntlet is the shark-infested waters. This perilous obstacle lures in the weak-willed with treats that will distract all but the most focused contestants. But for those with the fortitude to push onwards, a veritable smorgasbord of delectable wonders. Oh, excuse me, I went a bit game show host there for a minute. Anyway, the maze shuts over the night so the squirrels cannot practice off camera, and with everything in place and the route to victory clearly laid out, there was nothing left to do but wait. With how skittish the squirrels have proven themselves to be in the past, even getting them to inspect the new garden decoration was a bit of an achievement. This time they were much braver, so maybe they were going to be a bit bolder for a change. It seemed the wonderful smell of treats at the end of the maze would keep the squirrels interested enough to let them build up some confidence around it. Learning from the previous attempts, I had basically put something for the squirrels to snack on everywhere around the maze, including strung up at the entrance to make the ladder seem a bit more enticing. Anything that kept the squirrel visiting could be seen as a success. The lowest hanging nut did end up bringing in other critters to the party, with what looked like a field mouse taking a punt at the course as the sun faded away to nothing. Sadly, this little guy was a bit too short for the rest of this challenge, but I respect his enthusiasm. With a successful first day over, maybe this would be an easier obstacle than I had planned. The squirrels had made quick work of the other challenges, maybe I'd trained them a bit too well. The next day also started well, with many squirrels visiting to the nice smelling corner of the strange box. And it wouldn't be long before there were no more treats hanging at the door. It was clear that the squirrels were adamant to figure this box out, crawling here, there and everywhere. I decided a nut mounted as high as possible up the ladder might be the thing that would draw them in, which worked, sort of. squirrel takes the first point for overcoming the rope ladder and making it into the entrance tunnel. They may have defeated the ladder a little too literally, but now they knew where the door was, so we were sure to see some quick progress. For now, they can enjoy the spoils of their victory. Next up, the laser grid. Many visits ticked by, but the squirrels just didn't seem interested in taking the plunge further into the maze. Perhaps I'd built it all too densely, or maybe the fear of getting tangled outweighed any possible reward at the end. Whatever the concern, I felt it fair to simplify the lasers a bit to make sure the squirrel had room to get into the corner and move around a little. They would still pose a challenge, but hopefully I could give them the confidence boost they needed. With a freshly trimmed laser grid, surely the squirrel would be bold enough to take a run at it. Of course, the squirrel can smell when I've made a change, so it took days for them to actually trust the maze again. And while this was going on, I realised the ladder had to go. It just got in the way of the entrance and the squirrel refused to use it. Mostly it got tangled up with them as they tried to exit. So with the ladder gone and the laser grid trimmed, would this be the magic combination to get them further in? Once again, it would take some time before the squirrel would give it a go. They would keep popping back, perhaps hoping the maze would fall apart or a new entrance would appear so they could skip the whole thing. We all know how they like to cheat. But the important thing is they did come back. Does that count? They did pass through the laser grid. Sort of. This had been ages in the making, but I don't think I want to give away the point so easily. One thing I had noticed in all the struggles of the laser grid was the revolving door was looking a little snug, especially for someone who frequently got stuck in the entrance to the maze. Looking at it, there was no way the squirrel could get past it, and if they don't like the laser grid, would they even try to push the door open? It was time for more modifications. Given what's happened so far, I think you know what's coming next. They did come back again. And again. And again. But what you are seeing here is the abridged version. They were not passing by the laser grid. I guess they saw the risk of getting snagged too great relative to the potential reward. The other thing I had neglected up until now was that the entranceway could be a lot easier to get into. I decided to chop them a little more room at the doorway and finally remove the laser grid. I don't think I won this one because we saw they were capable of getting past it earlier, but if they aren't going to go all the way in, then they don't deserve the point either. We'll call this a draw. The modified door was immediately seen as a massive improvement for getting their fat little butts hoisted in. And it wouldn't be long before they'd spotted the lasers had been disabled and they could progress freely. And progress they did. Aside from getting a little twisted up and turned around there, some good progress was made. And the revolving door was no problem. Admittedly, my redesign of the door needed redesigning again because I'd basically closed the route to get to the end. So in the interest of letting them get on with it, I decided to chop this door down to a single door. At this point, we're about a month into recording. As much as I'd like to win a point, I'm rooting for these little dudes to get to the end. The challenge continued into that one day England gets where the sun came out, but the squirrel was making the most of the weather and made many visits. As difficult as it is to see, the squirrel was certainly happy to see the simplified door, and it wouldn't take long for him to catch the scent of treats further up the maze. Well, the shark didn't put up much of a fight there, and the squirrel is more than happy to get a little soggy if it means a bit of food. Of course, these are all the distractions that are keeping them away from the final goal. Would this be it? Would the squirrel finally make it to the end? absolutely unbelievable. You were there, you had it, the prize was in your hand, and you came away empty-handed. The little cheater spent the rest of the day trying to break in from the outside, but I was optimistic. Tomorrow had to be the one, and I even set the camera ready to capture the moment. Luckily, this little one clearly woke up eager. The stocks of extra food I put out were cleaned out by the early morning. Once again, the sun did try to spoil the show, but it would disappear just as quickly as it came out, right in time to catch this. Well, there it is. This maze has officially been beaten. Not a surprise given their track record, but it certainly took them longer than I had expected. All in, I had been recording for about 1 month. Now all that was left to do is let the expert demonstrate the full course. Thanks for watching.